I am really anxious right now. I smacked a pen last night, and weed I have a very strange relationship with because it brings out whatever I'm feeling like under the surface. So whatever like my subconscious mind is kind of worrying about, weed brings it to life. And that always, I never have good experiences with weed, but I intentionally will consume it sometimes to understand what's going on in my subconscious mind. But then I also have to accept that I may be causing an anxiety attack for the next 2 or 3 days. And I'm actively in an anxiety attack. I will happily admit that. But it also kind of lets me get my shit together and recognize like what I need to focus on, what's going on, and what to do essentially about it. So what I was thinking about like all last night, and what you could probably see within the last couple episodes, was I was a little all over the place. And I still am, obviously, but I think that that's kind of like representative of who I am as a person. And I think that I'm actually proud of that. I want to keep the professional image, but I also want to show that I'm unprofessional. I want to show all the tops and the downs of me, Brandon Alper, and I want to market that because I think that that's genuinely what makes me me, and I think that that essentially sells within life. Like everything is marketing, everything is sales, and I think that my personality alone is, and just in general, is what will sell me and what makes me different than whatever the other videographers, whatever the filmmakers are, is like that willingness to be open and that willingness to talk about everything. But I guess that's kind of dodging my point. But what I started to think about and like really worry about was the marketing. And I think that I was doing a lot of the marketing out of fear for my own personal brand. So I had this page marketed as Alper Archives, and Alper Archives kinds of shows like, oh, this is the archive version of me. This is like the version of myself that maybe I don't want people to see, and I'm hiding behind that mask of the word archive, meaning like, oh yeah, you know, like not everybody I want this to see, but I think that this is my superpower. Like I think the archive channel within itself is me, so I'm completely revamping it to just straight up Brandon Alper. Like I want these videos to be as raw as possible because that is who I am. I am a raw human being, and I want to share that because I believe that that is my superpower, the good and the bad. So I want to start changing that. I was also thinking like on Facebook or this and that, it's like I have to be unapologetically myself, and in my eyes that's the only way for me to be successful. Not hiding behind the masks of words of like, this is an archive, this is my Finsta, this is my this. Like no, this is me, this is Brandon Alper. Like you just got to do it, and if people are gonna like you, then they're gonna like you. If they're not gonna like you, then they're not gonna like you, and you kind of just have to accept that. And that acceptance that that's going to happen, especially with something as big and important as your reputation, like your brand being Brandon Alper, like that feels a lot more fragile than Alper Archives. But I think that if you truthfully show that entire spectrum of who you are as a person, you can't really knock it down, because what are you gonna knock down? Like the version of you that you've already accepted and shown to everybody, and that you're willing to admit that you're not perfect. Like if you create this version of yourself that's constantly perfect all over, and you're only this professional image of yourself, and something bad happens to you, your image is done for. But if you show that top, that bottom, and the entire spectrum of you as a human being, you can't be attacked. It's like, my boss loves to use this example, 8 Mile with Eminem, and how Papa Doc at the end of the movie tries to, or excuse me, Eminem says everything that Papa Doc in the song like would say about him. So I already know that I'm a this, I already know that I'm a that, so there's nothing for you to attack. So if you already admit everything and you accept that as a part of your personality, obviously you want to grow in order to get rid of that. But when you actually do that, there's nothing for somebody to attack because you already know. So that's kind of what I want to accept. And I've been, having like identity crises. Like if you watch my last video, like my hair was all over the place. I looked whatever, scrungy. Now my face is breaking out just because I was so anxious and stressed. And still obviously am right now, but that's how it goes. Like my body shows me physical cues when I start to feel these things. And I kind of like that. I think that's cool. Like I don't want to shy away from that version of myself, like, oh, if I'm anxious, don't talk about it on the camera, or hide that version of myself, like I'm only going to talk about when I'm like, no, I think there is a superpower in that. Like, obviously I've got my fucking 2 energy drinks and I probably shouldn't be consuming these, but I am anyways. And it's like, the one thing that I've also kind of taken out of this little like anxiety hump that I've had was just do it scared. You know what I mean? Like the entire time I was making sure that this camera was set up perfect. I cleaned my room or I cleaned my desk, and then I made sure to put Simir right there, and then I had this, and then I wanted to make sure that the camera was close enough so you could still see my logo. Meanwhile, the logo's not there, and I had to make sure my bed was straight, and then my caption, I ran it through ChatGPT and Gemini like 10 times to try to get the perfect one. I was watching back on the Dave Blunt's video that I just made, and I was like, oh God, I don't know about some of these transitions because they might look CapCutty. And then I just posted it anyways. Yeah, was I right? I probably should have done that. I don't know, but just do it. Just do it. Just do it. And I don't think people think about shit as much as you think about yourself. And you just, well, I'm talking to myself right now, but it's like, I just think so highly of myself that I'm like this such important character in other people's lives. And it's like anxiety is almost like its own form of narcissism. It's like you constantly think that you're this grandiose, like important character in people's lives when meanwhile everybody's worrying about their own thing. And I anxiety makes you feel so much more important than you actually are. And that's why what I've noticed is these people with high egos, including myself, always have like the highest level of self-hatred and depression and anxiety because they hold themselves to that higher standard. If you have a low ego and you just kind of, not saying you mosey throughout life, but you work hard and you recognize that we're all on the same leveling field, then you don't feel that like insane pressure to perform. Now, there does need to be an ego, because if there's absolutely none whatsoever and you're just going throughout life and you hate it and blah, 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 or, nothing at all, then yeah, you're not really going to work through anything, and there's no expectation of yourself. I think there needs to be some expectation of yourself, but I think that you actively need to be working towards a goal, whatever that is, and truthfully keep your mind open to everything. And that's what I'm really trying to like learn and focus on right now. But like being a control freak, wanting to do this, wanting to do that, and making sure everything is right, it's like you end up getting caught in the inaction and the analysis paralysis of stuff, which is something that made me and my roommates laugh because I was talking about that. But I don't know, you can clearly tell I'm like but yeah, that's kind of like the way that I've been. But I think if I can somehow use this energy in order to like truthfully blast off and accept it and whatnot, like even me, I changed my profile picture to some like picture where it looks like I'm a Calvin Klein model and I'm rocking some like white shirt with blue jeans on. Like, I don't know, even just that alone kind of makes me anxious because it's, oh, what if somebody thinks I'm a creep? What if somebody thinks that I'm this? Meanwhile, I just wanted to change the thing and I like the picture. It's so funny what like the human brain makes you think of yourself, and everything is marketing. It's scary because you don't want that like deepest fear to come to life. But I feel like if you accept that that's your fear and you like work towards it and recognize that it's like you have, not saying you have control over the way that people think of you, but you have control over how much you let what their opinions of you matter to you. And that kind of shit. And it's like, where is the line? Where's the spectrum where it's like, you don't want people to just think anything of you, but you also want to do what you want to do, but you have to be mindful of how people are going to look at you and are going to like have this expectation of you and whatnot. And I think, obviously there's different levels to that, and I respect that and I understand that, and it's interesting. Like, I'm turning 23 tomorrow, and I'm excited. Like, truthfully, I'm excited. But goodness, there's just like, there's so much going on, and there's so that's going on in this little fucking brain of mine, and I'm like, ding 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 ding. So yeah, so I'm proud that I like and made that kind of change, trying to just throw away the archive idea and just trying to be fully unapologetically myself. And that's my goal with doing this. And I know that sounds weird. Well, it actually doesn't sound weird at all. But like, if I just do that on the internet, because it feels so easy in real life. Like, you can just be yourself in real life. But the internet is very weird, because the internet, you have the active choice to click that post button. And you have the active choice to write out the caption. And it's like, you have an unlimited amount of times that you have to prepare to click that button, or to make that video, or to do the transition, or to do the this, or to do the that, in order to press that post button. But in real life, there's not that. It's like the internet induces this like unbelievable anxiety of perfection, because it's your decision whether or not that you click post or not. But I think if you turn that off and you truthfully just accept who you are as a person, and you show all sides of it, that's where you actually blow up on the internet and you become successful, because it's hard. It's really hard. That like radical acceptance of who you are as a human being is probably the hardest thing, and that really only comes more than likely when you're older, maybe your 30s and 40s. And by that point, you probably don't want to create a social media presence. That's why it's easier when you're younger, because you have all of that time to start to build it up. But when you're older, there's more risks, I guess. It's like, you're 35, all of a sudden want to start a social media presence. Even I'm going to look at you. And I'm not going to judge you, because maybe I am, and that's a part of the problem. Like, I am a part of the problem, and I recognize that. But if you start it younger, it's like normalized. It's so weird how we have these thoughts. And then also, why does it matter what I think of you? Like, if you want to do it, then just do it. There's so many different perspectives, and like, when you fucking think of it, and I think so goddamn much. But yeah, so I love it. I love the world. I love life. And it's so strange. It's like, why? Why are we here? Why do we have the ability to think about this? Why do we have the ability to think about what other people think of? And it's like, when you look at this world and you look at whatever, like, I get why people are so separated and they're so suctioned off into their own ways, because like, social media creates that. It allows for it. But that doesn't necessarily exist in real life. It's so fucking strange. And then when you start to really combine them, that's when shit like what happened to Charlie Kirk happens. It's scary, because when you really look at that situation for what it was, seriously, like, actually look at it, Charlie Kirk probably had so much more influence than any politician could have possibly had, and he had nothing to do with the actual like political side or politician side of it. Like, a social media presence, a influencer, I don't know if that's the proper word to say, because he was a podcaster, he did all of this stuff, had more influence than politicians had. So it was like, from like a maniacal and a evil genius perspective, it's so smart to go for that person, because that's the people who are going to actually induct the change. Like, I think that guy who did it, like, oh God, it's so messed up, because that is what truthfully causes the change, is going for the social media presence people, because that's what the younger people listen to. They don't listen to politicians. Not even old people listen to politicians. Everyone knew who Charlie Kirk was. And that's who you go after. And it's so fucked up. Grrr. Evil fucking fucking genius. It's just awful, man. And then it's like you try to denounce that. Like you say that that's awful. You say, go, and then other people are going to attack you for that. They're going to be like, oh, well, you're supporting a guy that did this, and it's like, man, he deserved. I don't care. What did the guy do to really enact fucking physical harm on anybody? And you're going to fucking kill the guy. Like, god damn, we can't even have fucking conversations with people anymore, man. Like, that's where the fucking world is going. That's the world we live in. That's the fucking world we live in. Do you not recognize how crazy that is? I understand why so many people have fucking anxiety disorders, including myself. Because if you just stand up for what you believe in, if you just do what you want, now you risk. There's so many different risks with social media. You're not professional. Let's do that. Say you are who you really want to be. You risk not being professional. That means you might not get a job. You might not getting a job means that you don't have the ability to provide for your family. You don't have the ability to live. You don't have the ability to buy food, right? It goes so much deeper than everything. And then that rejection, that people aren't going to like you. That's one of the deepest fears within humans, because we have that need to want to fit into a group. If people don't like you, oh my God, it's the end of the fucking world. And then you have the fear where if you stand up for yourself, then you're gonna get killed. Who thought that was gonna be a fucking ability or a possibility? It's horrifying. I get why there's so much anxiety and so much pressure and so much fucking, I don't even know what the word would be. It's, and then like, people have the thing, it's like, oh, just do this. No, you don't understand what it's like to grow up knowing how important social media is. Yeah, when you're 60 or 70 or 80 or 50, you've lived your entire life up until maybe you were 40 where you have your phones. These people are growing up and they're 5, 6, 7 years old being forced with this, and that's all they know is their friends and seeing people do these things. They don't really understand what the life is without that. And you expect these people to not care about what other people say about them on social media. This fear of being professional, this fear of cancel culture, this fear that if you do something wrong, then it's gonna survive on the internet for the rest of your life. I get why people are anxious, man. And just to expect people to not care, it's like impossible. But at the end of the day, you truly have to just accept, are you willing to risk that in order to truthfully live a life that you want? And I think it is a privilege to be able to do that. And I think there's a right answer in that. I really do. I think there's a right answer in that. But I think it takes time for people to truthfully get that. And I don't think you should be in a rush, truthfully. But I do think when you're younger, if you start earlier, then success will come sooner. Because I do believe that correlates with success. Because if you're doing what other people think of you and doing what other people expect of you, then yeah, you're probably not going to be as successful as you want to be. And I think, yeah, you might be successful monetarily, physically, whatever the word would be, but I don't think, like, emotionally and mentally you will be as happy as you would be if you just genuinely did what you wanted to do. So, I mean, genuinely think about that. I mean, thousands of years ago, the only thing that we really thought of was being able to survive until the next day, and then actually letting our bloodline survive and continue to live. Like, we were afraid that saber-toothed tigers, that lions were gonna come and eat us while we were asleep. And we were afraid that we weren't gonna have enough food to survive for the next day, and we had to go kill animals and eat that, and then, enjoy life with our tribe and not know whether or not we were going to be here within the next couple days. And now, look at the problems that we have. I don't know if humans, well, I mean, it's the test of time. You know what I mean? Like, humans are one of the most adaptable creatures, and I think that we have the ability to adapt. I know I sound very, like, negative, but I also do sound kind of, like, I'm pretty hopeful. Who knows how far it's going to get, but I guess only time will tell. And I believe that there is space, and I believe that there does need to be the satire, the this, the that, and like the thought of the 1984s of the world, the Black Mirrors, like that perspective does need to be there because it like, I mean, a lot of that shit, excuse me, I got hiccups, is coming to life. So anyways, that's where I'm at. So radical acceptance. Let's think about this. Do something good for yourself. I think that what you should do is go and listen to an album that you haven't listened to yet, that you have wanted to. Listen to the first 3 songs. Just force yourself to listen to the first 3 songs. And I believe that that's going to open up something inside of you, and it's like, wow, I actually tried something new, rather than listening to the same songs that you might already do. Because we're a very big ADHD generation, and one of the things with people with ADHD is they listen to the same songs over and over again because you're actually like actively seeking for the same dopamine that you had the first time you listened to it. So like, I don't know, do that. And then honestly, think about your closest friends and think about their qualities of themselves that you admire and how you can take some of the things that they might do and try to do that for yourself. I think that'd be really cool, and I think you'd appreciate it if you done that. So I love everybody. Please spread love. Please spread joy. Because I believe that's what we were put on this planet to do. So tell somebody that you love them, and really mean it and really appreciate it. Say it comes from the heart. Actually compliment them on something that they do well, and not just like a generalized compliment. Not like oh, you know, you look nice. Say your hair looks pretty, or say I really like the way you smile when you talk about something like this. It seems genuine. And people really like to hear that kind of shit. So I love you, and goodbye. Mwah.